Hello, welcome to Video Mania Tone, the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about a Shout Factory exclusive. Only 1,500 units are made of this Blu-ray. It is a Screen Factory double feature of Crime Zone and Future Kick. I'm going to talk about those movies in a moment, but these kind of movies were part of the video store era of these high concept, low budget movies, usually set in the dystopian future. The concepts are usually not always what it seems, or what is real, what is not. Humans fight for survival, things like that. Humans fight for survival in these bleak circumstances. And the movies that kind of inspired this were obviously The Terminator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by James Cameron. And then you had, after the success of Terminator, you had other movies like Cyborg from Canon Pictures, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, set in the dystopian future, and it had even lower budget, and it was successful. Then you had the cult classic starring Corey Haim and Patricia Arquette, Prayer of the Roller Boys, set in the dystopian future, kind of high concept, but not a lot of money behind it, but a pretty cool movie. Now, these two movies are part of the long line of type of movies I just showed you. Now, these movies were produced by Roger Corman. He was a legendary producer. He made a lot of different movies, and a lot of prominent filmmakers got their start under him. Jonathan Demme, who went on to do Silence of the Lambs, got his start with Roger Corman. James Cameron worked on a Roger Corman movie, and obviously we know what he's gone on to do. So that's where a lot of people got their start. Now let's first talk about Crime Zone. I was not familiar with this movie. I bought this movie for Future Kick. So I just watched Crime Zone. It stars Peter Nelson, Sherilyn Fenn, and David Carradine. It's directed by Luis Llosa, who I am familiar with. He directed The Specialist with Sylvester Stallone, and he went on to do Anaconda with Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez. So he went on to do some bigger movies, obviously. Guess he got his start here. Crime Zone is set in the dystopian future, and Peter Nelson plays Bones. Sherilyn Fenn plays Helen, and they're a couple trying to get out of this police state city, and David Carradine's character says, do some crimes for me and I'll get you out. So they try to get out and go on to a better life, but not always what it seems. But they want to start a life together in better circumstances, so they take the risk. This movie was okay, I guess. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my favorite of this kind of genre, and I love this genre when it's done right. This one's just kind of okay. Now let's get on to Future Kick, which is, like I said, why I bought this. This stars Meg Foster and Don the Dragon Wilson. It's another set in the dystopian future, and it had a low budget. And since they were both produced by Roger Corman, you can see, I noticed, because I watched Future Kick after Crime Zone, some of the footage in Future Kick was incorporated from Crime Zone, when they were, a lot of the exposition or some car chases were scenes from Crime Zone, like more vague parts, which was a common practice for B movies back then. Same production company. I'm like, hey, we already have this footage. It's kind of vague, so we don't have to do anything, or we have some exposition. We can take some vague shots from that movie and incorporate it into this one. I think Future Kick is the better of the two movies, obviously, but some footage was incorporated from that. So, like I said, common practice back then, and it's still incorporated some today. But I did notice that a lot when I was watching Future Kick. I didn't know they incorporated footage from Crime Zone. Now I know. Now, this movie, Future Kick, takes place in the future, and the Earth is kind of wasteland. So the rich people went to the moon, where they stay in their comfort. But they still go back to Earth to do business from time to time. And Meg Foster's husband's this program designer, and he goes back to Earth, and he gets murdered. So she goes down there to find out who did it, and she enlists the help of Walker, played by Don the Dragon Wilson, who's a cyborg. He was one of the few made, and they thought, cyborgs would take over, but they never did, and he's the last one. So they work together to solve her husband's murder. Not always what it seems. The production design on this movie is really good for its small budget, and so she tries to uncover more and see what's really going on. So the plot is pretty good, and it has an ending that's kind of divisive among many people, but I'm starting to see what they were trying to go for here. You either like it or you don't. I've come to, it's grown on me a little bit, and I've kind of accepted it. But the movie's pretty fun. It's short, and you know, if you're looking for high concept, low budget, it's pretty fun. I think Future Kick's pretty good for that. Now, hats off to Shout Factory for making this, because they both have still the 2.0 audio mix, but they did a 2K restoration of both of them. But I really like the restoration they did here, because these movies, you know, were very low budget, you know, and it still has that feel of like when you rented it on VHS and watched it, or you saw it on HBO in a hotel room when you're on the road and late at night you were getting ready to go to bed. You wanted to watch a movie before you went to bed. You know, some movies like this came on HBO and you'd watch it, and the restoration did that. They didn't do digital noise reduction and gloss it over. It still has a natural look, but it still looks much better. And Future Kick, the only real special feature, it has a longer cut, which shows a little bit more. And I really like it. So it's the best Future Kick has looked. And like I said, that's why I bought this one. Crime Zone, maybe it'll grow on me. But overall, pretty cool, and I'm glad this thing got made. And I like how Shout Factory preserved the feel of a B movie like this. You know, they didn't give it too modern of a restoration. You still feel like you kind of go back in time and watch this. But it's the best these films have ever looked, and I think it's pretty good. So if you're interested in Future Kick or Crime Zone, only 1,500 units were made, like I said, so it's a Shout Factory exclusive. You can go to their website and pick it up. Now, I talked about the picture, which I'm very happy with. Audio's good too. I'll show you a look inside. There is some alternate artwork. Here's the disc itself, you know, with both of them. And then you have the alternate artwork. You know, if you just want to display Crime Zone or Future Kick, you have that as well. I might go with Future Kicks. That's why I bought this. But overall, this set's pretty cool. If you're into that kind of, you know, high concept, low budget movies from the late 80s, early 90s, Shout Factory, hats off for them for even producing this. You usually don't get movies like this made. So pretty cool to have this now. So overall, I'm happy. So let me know in the comments, what did you think of these movies? Are you going to check it out? Are you glad these movies are getting restored? If you like older movies like this, please give Video Mania 2 a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And take care, and I'll see you next time.